Tensions between the United States and Iran have entered a dangerous and highly uncertain phase marked by conflicting claims, aggressive military posturing, and a fragile diplomatic push led by U.S. President Donald Trump. On Wednesday, Iran claimed that it launched a significant missile attack targeting the USS Abraham Lincoln, a U.S. aircraft carrier deployed in the region. According to Iranian state media, coastal cruise missiles were fired from shore-based systems toward the carrier group, forcing it to change position. Iranian officials framed the operation as a show of maritime strength and a warning to U.S. forces operating near its waters. A senior naval commander stated that the movements of the American carrier are under constant surveillance and would be targeted once it enters the range of Iran's missile systems. However, there is no independent verification of Iran's claims. U.S. officials have not confirmed any successful strike, and similar claims made earlier in the conflict were rejected by the Pentagon, which said missiles had not come close to hitting the carrier. The reported strike comes amid a broader and rapidly escalating conflict involving the United States, Israel, and Iran. Recent weeks have seen sustained airstrikes on Iranian territory, retaliatory missile launches, and growing fears of a wider regional war. At the same time, a diplomatic effort led by President Donald Trump is unfolding in parallel with military operations. The U.S. has reportedly proposed a 15-point peace plan to Iran through intermediaries, including Pakistan, aimed at halting the conflict in exchange for significant concessions on Iran's nuclear and missile programs. Iran has firmly rejected the proposal, dismissing it as unrealistic and framing it as a strategic defeat for Washington. The rejection highlights the deep mistrust between the two sides and the difficulty of achieving any meaningful breakthrough. Despite this, Trump has repeatedly expressed confidence that negotiations are progressing and that Iran is under immense pressure to make a deal. Donald Trump said we're having a tremendous success in Iran. He went further, describing what he portrayed as a decisive weakening of Iran's military capabilities. Donald Trump said they have no Navy left. They have no Air Force left. They have no anti-aircraft equipment left. These claims are disputed by independent assessments. While Iran has suffered significant damage from sustained strikes, it continues to demonstrate operational capability, including launching missiles and conducting regional attacks. In one of his most controversial remarks, Trump suggested that U.S. operations had effectively eliminated Iran's leadership structure. Donald Trump said, "We killed all their leadership, and now we have a new group." There is no independent confirmation of such a sweeping claim, although reports indicate that some senior Iranian figures have been killed in strikes. Iran's state and military institutions remain functional and continue to coordinate responses. Trump also indicated that diplomatic engagement is ongoing despite the hostile environment. Donald Trump said, "We're in negotiations right now." Yet Iranian officials have denied that any meaningful talks are taking place, underscoring a stark contradiction between the narratives presented by both sides. Adding another layer of complexity, Trump hinted at a significant concession from Iran tied to energy flows in the region. Donald Trump said they gave us a president who was oil and gas related, a very significant prize. While details remain unclear, control over energy routes, particularly the Strait of Hormuz, has become a central issue in the conflict. The strait is one of the world's most critical transit choke points, and any disruption has global economic consequences. Trump also suggested that the United States had considered striking major Iranian infrastructure, but chose to hold back due to ongoing negotiations. Donald Trump said, "If we can end this without more lives being taken, I'd like to be able to do that." This statement reflects a dual-track strategy, applying military pressure while leaving the door open for a negotiated settlement. Meanwhile, the military situation continues to evolve rapidly. The United States has reinforced its presence in the region, deploying additional forces and maintaining a strong naval and air posture. Iran, for its part, has continued to launch missile and drone attacks targeting both military and strategic assets. The USS Abraham Lincoln has been a central focus of Iranian claims throughout the conflict. Tehran has repeatedly asserted that it has struck or targeted the carrier, but U.S. officials have consistently denied any successful hits. The broader conflict has already resulted in significant casualties and widespread destruction. Israeli airstrikes have targeted Iranian military infrastructure, while Iranian retaliation has extended across multiple countries, raising fears of a wider regional war. Global economic impacts are also becoming increasingly visible. Oil prices have surged amid fears of disruption in the Strait of Hormuz, and concerns are growing about potential fuel shortages and economic instability in Europe and beyond. Efforts at mediation continue, with countries such as Pakistan, Turkey, and Egypt offering to facilitate dialogue. However, progress remains limited as both sides maintain hardline positions and express deep skepticism about each other's intentions. The situation is further complicated by an ongoing information war. Iran portrays itself as successfully resisting U.S. aggression and asserting regional dominance, while the United States emphasizes its military superiority and the supposed willingness of Iran to negotiate. This divergence in narratives makes it difficult to assess the true state of the conflict. Claims such as the reported missile strike on the USS Abraham Lincoln illustrate the challenge, a dramatic assertion from one side met with silence or denial from the other, and little independent evidence to resolve the discrepancy. What is clear is that the conflict has reached a critical juncture. Military escalation continues, diplomatic efforts remain uncertain, and the risk of a broader war looms large. As both sides project strength and refuse to concede ground, the path forward remains highly unpredictable. The combination of active hostilities, disputed claims, and fragile diplomacy suggests that the situation could either move toward escalation or spiral into a much larger and more dangerous confrontation.